Hey guys, I'm Risha.
I'm Ibrahim.
And we're the Mandinka Family. And today we have an awesome interviewee here that is going to tell us a lot about period poverty in the Gambia. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
You be my queen, you be my screensaver. I be a king, no be cinema. Diamond, mineral, situation critical. You be my queen, you be my screensaver. I be a king, no be cinema. Diamond, mineral, situation critical. Sun kiss your body, glitter, glitter.
Today's conversation is about period poverty here in the Gambia. I have someone special from the Girls Pride Gambia organization here today. So if you can tell everyone your name, introduce yourself, and a little bit about Girls Pride organization.
All right, it's nice to be here. I'm Zainab Baracham. I'm a nurse midwife by profession and a sexual health trainer at the Girls Pride. So Girls Pride is actually a social enterprise that actually fights period poverty through providing affordable sanitary products, especially reusable sanitary products to girls. And we don't just provide that, we also do health education to girls on period poverty, and also men. We also do consultancy.
Nice. Now you said you were also a midwife?
Yes, I'm a registered nurse midwife by profession.
Okay, so you're going to have to be my midwife whenever it's time. That's awesome. Yeah. So when did Girls Pride organization begin?
All right, Girls Pride actually started in 2017.
Okay.
The co-founder, Ms. Fatmata Gassama, actually went to opportune to go to the professional fellowship, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, whereby she met some interesting people about period who were fighting period poverty. Mm-hmm. So she decided to learn about how to use reusable, because we know when it comes to affordability, especially with the pads, mm-hmm. it's very difficult. So when she came back, she was able to do a lot of self-learning to mm-hmm. see how to make these pads, and that was how Girls Pride came about. So she was like, okay, I'm not just going to be a social enterprise just providing it. Yeah. I'm going to do education on menstrual hygiene, so that the girls will not only use the products but know how to use it, how to take care of themselves when they're menstruating. So this is how it all came about.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, in the Gambia here, many people, many especially girls, would be shy to even want to say mm-hmm. about something private like that. Mm-hmm. You know, how do you manage to convince them to even want to have a conversation about it?
Yeah, so it actually starts by breaking the taboos. Yeah. So we actually want to start with the girls that have not even yet seen their period. Okay. We have to start with the physiological system to tell them this is part of their normal body. Mm-hmm. It should be something you should be proud of.
Right.
So back then in 2016, 2017, we actually had a grant from the U.S. Embassy. I also am a Mandela Washington Fellow. I was opportune to go to the U.S. So we were able to get some grant whereby we launched a program called My Period, My Pride, whereby we went through almost all the high schools in the Gambia, from rural to urban, to actually educate the girls about period. That it shouldn't be something you're shy of.
Right.
Yeah, it should be something that you're proud of, because this is what actually continues life. Mm-hmm. If there was no period, you and I would not have been here.
Exactly.
So we start to explain to them, okay, why does it come about? How does it come about? When it comes about, what do you think? And I think they start to open up. I also try to see if we can meet parents, because it starts from the mother. Yeah. So we feel it's not only the responsibility of the mother, but it should be parenting, both mother and father coming together to teach their child, because most of the times in the Gambia, the father is the provider. Yeah. So the father should also know about these issues, that I have a teenage girl now, she has to start menstruation. Now, part of her needs will include sanitary products, right. So that at least now when it's time for the girl, she won't have to shy away, use cloth that is unhealthy and cause a lot of problems. Right. She will just have it provided. So we have been having a lot of conversations with the girls, and they have actually trying to open up. Now they have started saying, okay, I started seeing my menses when I was this is what I use. So we actually also teach them about their menstrual cycle. How can one track your menstrual cycle so that would have situations whereby they go to school and they see their menses accidentally. Usually when you see, there's a lot of period shaming too. So what we did was also we had sessions with high school boys whereby we talked about period shaming.
Okay.
What is their role as boys, especially in the girls? Because we have seen a lot of women will go through psychological stress due to period shaming. Because okay, you had an accident at class, your skirt got dirt, and everybody started laughing at you. Okay, this will affect you psychologically. It will affect your educational because you'll be shy to go back to school. Everybody was laughing at me at school. They call you that and all of that. So we also had session with the boys whereby we explained that this is a normal physiology. The women have to see you or who you are because of menses. So you have to support women when they're there. So they also came, we gave them a van cards whereby they wrote what they think period poverty was and what is their role when it comes to period poverty.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that, educating the young boys just like you do the young girls. And it's very important because, you know, it'll affect a young girl's relationship with her period. Like if that's the experience she's getting when she first starts her period, she's not going to have a good relationship with her menstruation. And
Exactly.
you have to have a relationship. So thank you so much for that. Now, Girls Pride organization makes reusable pads, and they do this to help with the environment. Now in the West, we just all over the world, we as humans produce a lot of plastic when we shouldn't be, because plastic can't really be broken down. And then especially in the Gambia, where it's very it's not a good system to like recycle and do waste and stuff. Having plastic here is even worse for the environment. So can you explain why the reusable pads are important to the environment and like some ecological benefits with the pads you make?
As you said, when it comes to sanitary products, they're usually plastic, and as you said, it's very, very difficult for plastic to generate. So they will stay on earth, like they might even end up at sea. And you know, when it comes to Gambia, we mainly depend on fish for our protein needs. So this is why we came up with this, because it's not only even the environment but the affordability too. How many girls will afford the disposable sanitary products, and how would they use it? Because most of them comes in a pack of 10. If you can afford only the pack of 10, that might take you just 2 days or maximum. Some can even use it a day. So the longer you use it, the more health hazard it is. But with the reusable sanitary products, one is environmentally friendly. You can reuse it and use it within a period of 2 years, and so the kits actually come with instructions whereby how to use it, how to wash it and all of that, how to package it nicely. Because even reusable pads have been in country, but a lot of people don't know how to use. They just use cloths or whatever, not even thinking about the material they use. Is it an absorbent material or not? And the storage also, because there is this taboo that when the menstrual products you're using, you shouldn't actually display them. So what happens is after using it, they might dry it in damp places like the bedroom or under the bed, some places like that. And we all know that when these are used, they need to be aired out in the sun so that a lot of microbes can be killed. If not, it should be ironed. So we actually also engage the girls on how to keep it. So when you look at the environment, if we don't take charge of it, like indiscriminate dumping and all of that, so it will actually affect us, like economically, health wise and all of that. So the main reason why Girls Pride is also fighting this. So we actually also educate them on the different types. You know, when we also have the silicone cup. I know a lot of people are usually scared to use it and all of that, but we also during our menstrual hygiene health education sessions, we actually display all of the products so that they can see it and feel it and see how it looks like, and that they have a lot of options to take.
What are some of the challenges you face in gathering about 500 volunteers to support you on this?
Yeah, because we know when it comes to period, as you said, there are a lot of taboos surrounding period. A lot of people don't want to talk about it.
That's the issue. Taboo.
Yes. So we have a lot of colleagues that are very interested we have seen that now the younger generation are interested to know what actually happens in their body. They are no longer like you start menstruating, then your mother calls you like, okay, now if your man touches you and all of that, you get pregnant. So we're trying to, okay, if someone sees that you're menstruating, you might not have a child. You know, there are a lot of taboos when it's surrounding menstruation and all of that. So we start from the grassroots. You know, it's social behavioral change. You have to start from people actually coming to them, listening to what they have to say about menstruation, and coming to give them the facts. So that is what we do, and a lot of people are now interested. So we see a lot of people that want to volunteer, and we have been dealing a lot with schools. As I said, we had training for both boys and girls. So at every school, we have a focal person that we talk to that can actually give us that much audience.
So, like, you know, for example, you live in the Combos here. Do you have other co-workers that, you know, are in the, like, for example, Bangsan areas, you know, other part of the country?
Yeah, we have volunteers all over. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to education, we have focal persons in schools. You know, they have their peer health, education, and other health clubs. So we try to make sure we go there. So with all the, you know, at least with the Gambia, we have regional structures. When it comes to education, every region has a regional office. Same with health too. From here to Basse, they have regional health directorates. So anyway, we want to do programs, we actually try to partner with them because they know their communities better.
Now, with the negative stigma surrounding periods, I know a lot of times, like you said, we talked about the cultural part with the taboos, but also, do you think the negative stigma of periods also surround religion? Because even in Islam and Christianity, in the Bible, it states that like a woman who's on her period is unclean, and just the word unclean can, you know, keep people away from embracing something that's natural. So do you think kind of religion plays a part in how people in general perceive periods?
Yeah, I think so, because they might term the woman. I think this just misinterpretation, because the moment you're menstruating, you're exempted from a lot of religious acts like prayers and fasting. But it terms the woman unclean because she cannot do, but not like the literal meaning as if you should run away from her and all of that. So I think we also try to encourage the religious leader to also part of their sermons, because they're influential people that a lot of people hear to. So if a religious leader comes out to talk about menstruation, at least a lot of people will hear, and men will be like, okay, if the religious guy is talking about this, then I should also, because even if with the main prayers, whether it is Idul Fitri or Idul Adha, even women are advised, even if you're menstruating, we will not pray, but you can be part of the congregation to hear the sermon. And I think if it was really that unclean, Islam wouldn't allow you. So I think most of them are culturally based, because, for example, in some cultures, when you're menstruating, you don't cook. Some will actually, you'll be abandoned kind of, because they feel you're unclean to serve them food and all of that. So we try to tell women that, okay, you're menstruating, but this is not something that is unclean. We try to explain the physiology. How does that blood come about? What happens in the body? That these are actually eggs. These are actually the female garment that were supposed to make babies. Because there were no babies, then they have to break down. So this is part of your body breaking down. So what you need to do to make sure that you are clean is to take care of yourself. Change your sanitary pad frequently. Do personal hygiene. Do that. So at least now when they do that, they become confident. They can sit around people that, a lot of people will menstruate and sit around you when you don't know they're menstruating, because they're taking care of themselves. You just don't have to use one pad the whole day or for a long time. So that is where we start with them.
Okay. One thing that wowed me, that like really intrigued me about you guys did a documentary with MMH, and I seen that. I'm gonna insert a brief clip here, guys, so you can see it.
We don't only focus on mental health, but sexual and reproductive health in general. I know my menstrual cycle now, and I will be able to calculate it any time. And when I also ovulate, I will also know when is my safe time or the fertile time, and when is unsafe time.
Before, I always feel tired, even going to the shop to buy menstrual pads. Sometimes, if you don't put it for me, you don't cover it for me, I will not take it from the shopkeeper. But today, due to the lesson that I learned here and the experience that they narrate to me, I have realized that this is something that you need to be proud of as a girl because it's a natural occurrence. They have taught me a lot to be proud of myself, and whenever I see my menstruation, how to help myself.
I've once watched a show, Bata Jigeni, at QTV. So that's when I saw Fatmata explaining how to use this pads.
We have done training where we train on menstrual health and also distribute sanitary pads in schools.
They also supply us with this pads so that we can use them when we are seeing our menstruation.
We've trained 500 girls who live in boarding schools, so that because we believe in boarding schools, you are staying away from your home, so it's going to be very difficult for you to get sanitary pads. The team.
That was a really educational and informative video. It was within like 10 to 12 minutes. I learned so much. One of the things that I did learn was that the young girls didn't know how to calculate their period or when it comes. And just for example, like with my husband, he has a couple of siblings that are pregnant, and I was like, so how many months are they? And like, I don't know. And then like I even asked them, I'm like, how many months are you? And they were like, I don't know, but it's coming soon. So it's like, oh man, like, and you know, obviously in the West, if you ask us, we kind of know exactly what or the technology we have to kind of calculate it. So why don't women like know initially how to calculate their periods?
Yeah, so I think it's just not being interested or thinking that periods are that important. So that is why we start with the teenage age, to tell them how important their periods is.
Okay.
That is why I said we also teach them about their menstrual calendars, how to make sure that they track. And now it's even easier. You don't need to go to the calendar and start counting 1, 2.
Right.
I think most of them have phones, so we also actually encourage them to also download a lot of apps that will help you track your period. It's easier.
Yeah.
So you, as I told you, I'm a midwife, so you'll be actually very shocked that, okay, like you have literate women that will come to the health facility, because as you said, it's very, very important for you to know your last menstrual period. If you know your last menstrual period, that is what I'm going to use to actually calculate your expected date of delivery, to know actually how much. But okay, you'll come, okay, when was your last period? They'll start scratching their head. Okay, when was it? When was it? I didn't know. So now you'll actually and you know, when it comes to the healthcare system, not everybody is privy to an ultrasound scanning whereby you'll be able to know the gestational age. So now that becomes a problem, because now I'll have to start palpating, and we know when it's early pregnancy, it's usually very hard to actually know how many weeks that person is. So that is why we also, the importance of knowing your menstrual calendar, we start to tell them, you need to know your menstrual calendar. If you need to know your menstrual calendar, you can actually track a lot of activities. Your reproductive health is very, very important. You will actually know, okay, it's like I'm ovulating, I need to take a painkiller. Okay, I'll see my menses in this, I need to prepare my materials because I'm about to menstruate. If you're married, some people actually don't even use contraceptives because they know actually their menstrual calendar very, very well. They know when they are safe, they know when it's. So we try to teach them the safe and unsafe, but we just tell them this is for you to know. But as young girls going to school, we actually want you to concentrate on your education, and that I cannot teach you the safe and unsafe period just one day and you start practicing it. You actually need to know the pattern your period comes in actually in 3 to 6 months, that okay, I have a 26-day cycle, or I have a 28-day cycle, or I have a 31-day cycle, because you have tracked it for months and you see, okay, it comes every 30 days or it comes every 28 days. So we help them to see how to track it. Okay, the moment you start menstruating, that is your day 1 of your calendar. So you start tracking. Okay, today is day 1, day 2, day 3. The moment you see it again, you stop counting. If it stops at 26, you know that, okay, my cycle is 26, so forth. So we actually help them to know that, and it has paid dividend, because as I said, now they won't have accidents at schools, or you won't have to miss schools because you have been prepared prior to the menstruation. You have your painkillers, you have your supplies and the like.
And it's not going to be like unexpected.
And
also, you know, just as far as the apps, like you said, there's now apps available for women here, young girls here who have phones. Like, for example, I use the app called Flow, and I think that's probably one of the more common apps. And so, yeah, if you don't have time to even calculate it, it'll tell you, like, okay, this is your highest chance of getting pregnant.
Yeah, medium.
Yeah, this is the day that you're going to ovulate.
Yeah.
And, and then it even asks you your symptoms and analyzes it for you. Like, why are you feeling bloated? Why do you feel tired or sleepy? Or why are your breasts tender?
Yeah.
And so forth. So it's very informative. Are there any other apps, period apps, that you know of? Or is that the common one?
Yeah, Flow, My Period. But I think the moment you type, especially with the apps, whether it's the Apple Store or the Play Store, the moment you type apps, and it's free, so you just have to insert your data, and it does all the calculation. It gives you notices before the period comes. Yeah.
Okay, is the health organization in the Gambia here, are they aware of the job that you are doing, and are they of any help to you?
Oh, yeah. As I said, I am a nurse, right? And I actually work for the ministry. I work for the Directorate of Health Promotion and Education, and we have a special unit for school health. They also do a lot, and we have a lot of other organizations that are actually fighting period poverty. So for this year's World Period Day, Menstrual Hygiene Day is coming on the 28th. Okay. So there's sort of a coalition of all of these NGOs doing the same thing to come together to fight period poverty. So the ministry also is doing their part, because when it comes to Ministry of Education, they actually have programs that actually give free menstrual pads to girls, especially in the rural areas. So I think they're also doing something. Yeah.
Okay. So the woman be held back because of her period, or like, you know, going to school, you know, for her period to kind of affect her schooling, because here most girls would be, like you mentioned here, if they go to school and their period, you know, came out unexpectedly. Even when I was going to school in Sukurems, and I saw this with my own eyes, it happens, and, you know, people started laughing. So, you know, things like that, how do you manage to like involve the boys, you know, to kind of have a conversation with them, stuff like that?
Yeah. So just I'll first of all start by saying, have you ever period shamed any girl? Have you ever?
Have I
ever period shamed any girl? So period shaming.
No, I understand what you mean. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Like, you know, I kind of have a positive stuff when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even my sisters, you know, like, I would want to, like, you know, talk to them about.
Yeah, but they're
like
shy.
Because, for example, you know, my parents are not here. So if their parents are not there, like, okay, I'd ask the parent now.
Yeah.
I should be the one, you know, trying to talk to them about certain things. And, you know, was it the day before yesterday, my wife came up with something that you clean up yourself with. What?
Oh, it's specifically for like the
feminine hygiene.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
it's like, but it's like a spray to like keep it fresh.
Okay, so she wanted me to explain a gift to one of my sisters.
Yeah.
But like out of respect, you know what I'm saying, I was too kind of sad. But because there was a lot of them within there, and my elders are there, so I don't just want to say it. But, you know, like my younger sister, that's whom I would want to prefer to give to her, because like I can explain it to her.
Yeah, and she'll understand better.
But I've never shared.
Yeah, so what we do is, as I said, we also had trainings with boys on period shaming. Yeah. So the first question we'll ask them is, have you ever period shamed a woman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some will say, okay, yes, I've laughed at her before, I've called her unclean before, I've called her dirty before, and all of that. So we start to tell them what are some of the signs you can period shame a woman. And we ask them, okay, if I was your sister and I asked you to go and buy for me a sanitary pad, shall we? So we're like, no, I will never do that. So I was like, yeah, so why? So I was like, do you think periods are dirty? Yes, they're dirty. So we start to explain the physiology and all of that. Yeah. So at the end of the session, we all agreed that periods were dirty, and a lot of them pledged that now they'll stop period shaming women, they'll be more supportive and all of that. So that is how we start with them at that young age, to actually tell them about what menstruation is about and all of that. But it's also very important as men, because we expect that these young boys will become the fathers of the house, and, you know, since they're the head of the house, they have to provide for their young ones. Right. Yeah, so it's high time that we start talking to our young females about it. I feel a lot of teenage pregnancy, or a lot of girls have actually indulged in a lot of things because it could have been simply prevented by a simple discussion. Right. But because we don't discuss with our young teenagers, the moment they start, they learn from, you know, sources that will be harmful, from the internet, from friends, and these might not tell them genuine advices or what they need to do. So at least when we start to open up start those conversations. So there are a lot of organizations that are actually trying to open up, talk to parents, go to the grassroots, and tell them that you have to talk to your girl. Because you hear a lot of stories that, okay, when I started menstruating, my mother put me down and was like, okay, now you're a woman the moment your man touches you. But what is when a man touches you? Okay, because now we know a lot. When at that age, the teenagers are very experimental. So for example, you'll be with a guy, he touches you, you didn't get pregnant the first time, he touches you. So you want to explore other stuff because she didn't tell you actually what will make you pregnant.
Right.
But at least now when they know their cycle, when they know what they're supposed to do, how to do it, I think there are a lot of things that can be prevented.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, you talking about, like, again, just educating young boys, because they will eventually be expected to become the head of the household and have their own family. And, like, just to share this story with Gambian women, even though the culture and environment is different, like I come from America, where it is so easy, even if you live in a rural area, it's so easy to get pads. They're disposable pads, but it's just so easy to get pads, so we don't really think about, the lack of getting pads. But, there was a time, a couple of times, there was a time where my period, like, came on in the middle of the day. Like, I expected it to come on, like, a couple of days after, but it came on. Sometimes my cycle's 26, sometimes it's 28 days. But you can sometimes miscalculate, and it could come on a couple of days earlier or later. So came on unexpectedly, and I asked my husband, I had blood on my pants, and I was like, hey babe, I was like, can you walk behind me and look and see if I have blood on? And he was like, yeah babe, you do. So, like, but he didn't, like, shame me or nothing. He was like, don't worry, like, just go home, I'll get you some pads. So he went to the store to get me some pads, and everything was good. And also to just let Gambian women know, just in general, like, all of us as a whole, as women, we're not alone. There's always, like, we all have some type of similar story, no matter where we live. There was a time where I was going to work, and my period was already on, but the first couple of days it's very heavy. So I had just put on the pad. I got to work maybe 20 minutes later, wasn't even an hour later. And I had on this very cute dress, but when you're on your period and it's heavy, you tend to want to wear dark clothes. So I had on this cute dark colored dress, but as soon as I sat down at my desk at work, I just felt something wet, and I was like, I stood up, and the seat was made out of cloth. It was like one of those spinning chairs, and so it was like a whole bunch of blood on the chair, and like I was embarrassed because I'm at work, and I messed up these people's chairs. So I called my manager over, who was a female, and I explained to her. She was like, "Oh, it's no problem. I'll get it cleaned." And one of my guy friends, he was like, yeah, I seen it. He was like, I seen it when you stood up. Don't worry. Like, he gave me a sweatshirt to tie around. And I went home and changed. But, this story is just to, like, let you guys know, you're not alone. And this is something that's natural, like you said. And if we did not have periods, nobody would be here, So, in a sense, we should appreciate periods. And it's, like you said, it's not unclean. Like, the physiological perspective, it's literally the definition of us cleansing ourselves. Like, it's just simply the egg not being fertilized, and our body is being prepared for pregnancy if it comes. So I definitely appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, so I think when we talk about period poverty, it's not actually only the affordability, but having the pad at the right time, and the sanitation is very, very important. I might be able to buy pads for myself, but for example, when I go to work, the toilet is not very hygienic for me to actually change. Then I am period poverty, because now I cannot change my pad. So period poverty actually affects me. So when we talk about period, we're talking about the hygienic pad, we're talking about the sanitation, we're talking about the toilet facilities also. Yeah.
Very, very true.
Yes, something like I found amazing in America is that whenever you go to any public toilet, you will see at least some sanitary pads there that you could use when like you could change yourself. I think that is also a way of fighting period poverty, because as you said, sometimes it comes earlier than you expect, or it comes later than you expect. So when it comes earlier than you expect, like for example, you could just walk into a toilet and change yourself and all of that. So we also encourage girls to at least, I think it's a very good practice practice to have sanitary products in your bag, even whether it's 1 or 2, because accidents can happen anywhere.
Right.
So whenever it comes, you could just change and all of that. So we also appreciate the schools that they also have this scheme whereby they have sanitary products with certain teachers that if it finds you in school, you could actually go grab one and take care of yourself. And I'm sorry, the UNICEF too, especially the Ministry of WASH, also had helped in building a lot of toilets around the schools. At least we hope that this will also act this, because a lot of girls too will not want to change at school because the conditions of the toilet, so they will prefer to sit. And you know, the moment you sit, the heavier you bleed. There's high tendency of you staining yourself. But at least if you have a comfortable toilet that you can go change, I think it's on the right direction.
I understand that the parts that you made are reusable. What are the materials that you use to make them?
So it's made up of an absorbent material, and it has a leak-proof material also that will not leak to your clothes. So it's absorbent and all of that. And it has a tip-tap sort of button that you can actually use on your pad, and I wish I could. You saw the material. So it's nice to just put it under your pads and all of that, and it's well secure. Using the right pad is very, very important. So actually encourage, educate the girls that people are different. I might be using a heavy floor, you might be using a lighter, because a lot of people have different. So we actually try to teach them this also, to actually, especially the first dates, how long should you, so no matter how much you bleed, at least you should change your pad at least 3 times a day, the minimum. So we actually try to educate them about that, how to take care of themselves when they're menstruating. Especially, we know a lot of them have pain, and we tell them there are a lot of non-pharmacological methods you can use to actually take care of yourself.
Awesome. So the Girls Pride Gambia organization, you guys have visited different schools to educate the staff, so that in turn the staff can educate the students.
We actually educated the students ourselves.
Okay.
So it was so funny because we wanted boys. So when we talked about period shaming, I was like, period shaming? You want boys? Are you sure it's not girls that you want? Like, no, we actually wanted the boys. So we actually called the boys. So it was very interesting session. For the first time they heard about me. For the first time they had a feel of actually what a pad looks like. So we actually took the products to them. At least they let them have a feel. And find at least the conversation was an exposure. And I think So I feel that there will be a lot of change. So on the 28th we'll have a grand conference on menstrual hygiene day supported by UNICEF. So we'll have those boys that were trained, some of them to be part of the panelists, to talk about period shaming, what their experience, and since they've had the knowledge, what has changed.
So how many, out of all the schools you guys went to, how many people have you educated thus far in estimation?
We educated, because in every region we educated about 300 boys, and it was about 1,200.
Wow. Okay. And are you guys going to actual rural villages,
Yes, we went to rural villages. So we went all the way to the forest region in URR, and we went to one of the villages in Diabugo. So we made sure that we went to the rural areas whereby we could get them there.
Okay. Also, would it be important to how you are educating the young boys to kind of understand stuff about period poverty? Would you also initiate about involving parents like the fathers to kind of give them some advice regarding it for them to be involved in it?
I think it's very, very important. We have started that on one-on-one basis, but I hope when we get more stronger and more funds, we could actually organize a bigger one whereby we'll go to every region and talk to parents. As you said, it's very, very important, because at least we have to break those barriers. And I feel when we break those barriers, it will be easier, and it's a cycle sort of. The moment the reproductive health is taken care of, we believe that, they become responsible. The moment that women are pregnant, they'll be more supportive, because that is what we need. At least when I was in one of the rural Gambia working as a midwife, a lot of them you called men to talk about Okay, before it was maternal and child health services. Really, men felt they were left out. So now it was reproductive health services. But still, the moment you start talking about reproduction and all of that, pregnancy, you start seeing them living.
The guys scatter.
Yes, scatter. So what we did was actually we involved the influential leaders, because at least when it comes to our rural areas, we have an entry point. Whether it's the head of the village, whether it's the head of the district. I mean, we actually started with them. So one of the chiefs was very supportive. Anytime we had a health education session, he actually comes around. You know, he's a local authority in his own way. So the moment he's there, when you're a man, your chief is there, okay, he's listening, you won't go out. So actually what we did was also, okay, if you're a man and you brought your child for immunization, we'll give you priority. You won't have to queue.
Okay.
So now women will actually force their men to take their child. So I think it starts from the grassroots, but we believe it's just baby steps, but we'll get there at least when we start educating the men. Social behavioral change, try to tell them, okay, we know, okay, these are your norms, these are your this, but I think you can do it a little bit different and over
Yeah, my husband, he was saying that when his mom gave birth, his dad wasn't present, they would just how do you explain it, babe? There's a woman.
An elderly woman in the compound would just.
That is the problem. You hardly see men accompany their women.
So is it changing now?
It's changing now. Because now at least the younger generation will believe you want to be there and all of. And the important thing is research have shown that companionship in labor actually shortens the time in labor. The companionship, because just imagine, you have a midwife. You might not even get so used to the midwife and all of that.
Right.
But just imagine you have your husband by your side, just holding your hand, giving you that moral support. I feel it goes a long way. Right. But for example, you come with an old woman, which gives a hell of a trouble, because one, she does not know the place. You'll have to go to the lab. She will not be able to do all of the running around. Right. So at least when the husband is present, you'll be able to do the running around. You'll be you'll ask what happens. I always quarrel with men. For example, your woman will give birth. Okay, that is the only time you see them present, when a child is actually born. And they'll be like, okay, wow, what did she have? I said, okay, would you ask me how your woman is? I think that is more important. Right. So I always tell them. But I think it's improving, because we have one reproductive health clinic. That's the Bundung Maternal and Child Hospital that have men clinic. They actually invite men to the clinic to talk about pregnancy, what to expect, this is what your wife is going through, and all of that. And that when your wife is delivering, you have to be there. So I think it's really improving now, because men are being present at the labor wards. And
it seems like in kind of thing, when you went with your husband, it's more easier for you to have access. All right.
So we're doing all those strategies to just make sure that men are being encouraged, because when it comes to time, men are really impatient because of the long waiting queues and all of that. But at least when you give them privileges, they'll be happy to come back the next time.
Right.
And the final question that I would ask, what can men like me do to help end period poverty?
Yes, I'm happy you asked that. One, you have to know why periods happen. That women, it's not like that what happens when a woman is seeing their period. At least you have to understand the basic physiology of menstruation. Then you won't have to blame your wife. Oh, she's moody again and all of that. Instead, you'll now be supportive. Oh, it's that time of the month again. Right. I think I should buy her chocolate. I think I should. You understand? True. So it starts by like understanding what happens in the woman's body. So when it starts from there, now what is my role as a man? What am I supposed to do? You have to do support. What kind of support? Whether it's financial, I need to buy her stuff. I need to buy her the sanitary products she needs. I have to be there physiological. I have to be there when she needs hot water to drink. Okay, because when you know what happens and how you can help better, that is how that gives you the time. But if you don't know what happens, that she's just rude. She just wants to cry and all of that. But when you know, okay, my woman is on her period. Okay, I think I have to make her a cup of tea. I think I need to give her painkillers. I think you know, it like, yeah, and you know, when you're in your menstruation, you just need the care, just a gentle touch might change a lot of things. So we actually try to tell men, okay, this is what happens when a woman is menstruating. A lot of things happen in the woman's body, so you have to understand her. You have to make sure that you provide, especially when you're a father. Where do you expect your girl? We feel when period poverty might lead to teenage pregnancy, it might lead to prostitution, because okay, you're a young girl, you want to use sanitary products, but you don't have the money to buy. You see someone offering, you might go there. But at least in the house, if you make sure that by the end of the month, your parents provide that for you, you don't need to go outside. I think you sit with your girl, okay, I haven't seen you buy pad this month, why? You understand? At least those kind of questions, the girl will know that, okay, my parents are very, very observant, and they are like interested in what happens. So she won't need to go outside. So that's what I said, dialogue. The moment there is dialogue, then like you become the first point of contact. They don't need to go outside to get source for other information. You become their first. So as a man, you have to be supportive. Whatever support, whether psychological, physiological, financial. So that was advice, to men. They need to be supportive of their women. It's not just like we want to be crybabies or all of that. Women go through a lot.
There's hormonal
imbalances and changes and all of that. Happens. She might be happy just this minute talking to you, happy. The next minute she wants to feel like crying or something. So you need to really understand her. Yes.
Absolutely.
And also the concept of like in a family, men would be like, okay, it's a wife's duty to talk about certain things to her daughter, and it will be the man's duty to talk with his son. But to me, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Like have a conversation
with all of
your kids. It doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl.
I think the parents may not be here, so you have to pick up.
And girls sometimes feel more comfortable with their dad. I think you should be a girl dad. At least, because the moment like the girl becomes so comfortable to talk to you, okay, she feels okay, and like we us girls, the moment you're growing, you feel your dad is that superhero that so you see your dad as that icon, you see your dad as that role model, so he has to step up to that. He has to show you why he's like the best. So he has to be there for you. Like, if you want to talk to someone, the first person your mind should come to is, hey, I have to call my dad and ask this and so I think the moment we open up, break the barriers, break the taboos, break the stigmas.
The taboo is the most difficult
part. But I think as we're growing older, I've seen a lot of men really stepping up, and I'm really proud of them.
Awesome. So we have something for you. And this is Girls Pride Gambia. We got a gift for you guys.
Oh, thank you so much.
Ultimately, what we want to do is our pledge is to donate 5,000 dalasis each month for the rest of this year.
Wow!
And in hopes to give the people who don't have easy access, like the girls, to keep them in school, to keep the young women in school, but also to reach the rural areas where it's really, really hard for them to get access to pads. So the Mandinka family are going to pledge to give 5,000 dalasis each month to Girls Pride Gambia organization, starting with the first 5,000.
Wow.
And this is just like we really appreciate, like, even my husband ask a lot of questions about periods, like and he was saying, like, I didn't really have these type of conversations, like, before we even got married. So opening that conversation, and like I show him my pads, like, this is how this particular pad is. Educating him, because like he said, he's going to be my support system through it all. And it's very important, and the ultimate message that everyone needs to know is that, like, periods are natural, and without it you would not exist or be here with us. And it's just something that we all need to embrace, men and women. So we really appreciate what you guys are doing. We've been following your work for a while, and we really just love everything that you guys are bringing to the table. So thank you so much.
So thank you so much.
I got you this as well. I have a couple of other gifts, but they didn't get delivered in time, so I'm gonna have it shipped to the Gambia. But this is one thing that you'll be able to use in your classes. It's a couple of diagrams which has the labels of like the reproductive system for men and women. And I do have more stuff coming. So
all right.
That's that. And anything you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, because this will go a long way. You know, sometimes the small things you do, you don't know how long it goes, how much someone else might appreciate it. Yeah. So one of the things, like, okay, I grew up in urban area and all of that. At least I was a bit lucky that at the end of the month I had pad that I could use and all of that. So my first shock when I was a midwife at the clinic was I delivered someone and all of that and asked for the pad. They didn't even have a pad.
Okay.
Yeah, so just imagine if this reaches a young girl that never had a pad, you'll help actually keep a girl in school.
Right.
Because we have seen a lot of girls will have to skip 2, 3 to 5 days per month.
Okay.
Because of not being able to have sanitary products. But if they have these reusable products that they will use, you actually keep someone, she'll be at school and all of that, and you never know what she might be in the future. So we're very, very appreciative of this, because like we really know that the work is going and people are really paying attention, because when it comes to Girls Pride, we believe so much in inclusion. And we also target people with disabilities, like the school for the deaf. Just a couple of days ago, we also went to the school, because they are one of the people in society that we usually try to forget about, and they are the most in need. So this will go a long way. So we're really appreciative, and we say thank you, and that, like, because this is what we need. Platforms like this to make sure that the message goes, to make sure that people are involved. And we believe no one person can do it, but I believe together we can do a lot. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Absolutely. So guys, we're going to pledge to give 5,000 dolasis every month to the end of this year. And if people want to contact you directly to make donations, is there a number or anything they can reach you at?
Yes. So I'll just give you the number so you can share.
Okay. I'll just put it on the screen here, you guys. And so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and check out the production unit. So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Right.